All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be covering this governor's race very closely between now and Election Day, and very pleased to have one of the candidates with us, a New Orleans guy. He's running as an independent. His name is Gary Landrieu. And Gary, we welcome you to the program. How you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about illegals in the state of Louisiana. What's your plan?
The day I'm sworn in as governor, I'm going to sign an executive order that's going to declare that you have 6 months as an illegal to get out of our state. Go home. Go back to your country. If you do that, you voluntarily do it, then you'll be able to sign up and we'll do a case-by-case consideration. Now, you might say that this isn't a state priority or a state responsibility, but it really is. You got 6 months to go. If after 6 months we're going to go and start rounding up people who aren't here legally, we're going to turn you over to ICE and you're going to be deported. If we have to do it that way, then you're not going to be able to come back. Mm-hmm. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to take all illegals off of the welfare rolls. You're not going to get food stamps. You're not going to get Social Security. Mm-hmm. You're going to get nothing. You're not an American citizen. You're not supposed to be here, and you're here illegally. So you got to go home and you got to get off the welfare system.
What about the cities in the state like New Orleans that are sanctuary cities?
That's illegal. No more sanctuary cities. And the people who think they can do that are going to have a big problem with me.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to have a showdown.
Absolutely. We have to have a showdown because you can't continue to bring another 30 million people in the country because we're not going to have a country in 10 years if you do that.
Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself.
61 years old. I've got an 8-year-old little boy, so I'm a single dad. I also have a 35-year-old daughter who's got 2 master's degrees, and she lives in Miami. And I graduated from Tulane University in 1980, St. Paul's boarding school in 1976. And I spent since I'm 9 years old, I've been working. And I'm working today. I decided to run for governor because I can take my energy and my enthusiasm and my intelligence and my capability and my experience and bring it to the governor's mansion and use the power of the governor's office to change things. Unlike most of the people who go into the political world and accomplish public office, they don't really ever change anything.
Right. So what's interesting is we had a good hour-long discussion with you on the radio, and I think a lot of the listeners were like, wait, Landrieu, he sounds conservative. And tell us about that.
When you work in the political world, and everybody's like the M. Landrieux, they're all in the political world, everything is the government, and everything is get a job in the government or give a government contract or raise the taxes so you can have more opportunity for people in government. When you're in business, you're the person that they're taking the money from, and you're the person that's creating the jobs that everybody's using to pay the taxes to the government. So, and you're the one falling under the regulations that makes it harder and harder to do business. So when you look at government, you look at it as an obstacle to success rather than the proponent of success. So as a businessman, like I said, I've been working since I'm 9 years old. Government to me has been a problem. Yeah. And for most people, unless you're in government.
You agree with Ronald Reagan? I mean, government is not the solution, it's a problem.
When they knock on your door and say, we're here to help you, you better run.
Yeah.
You know?
So let's talk a little bit about the current governor. So obviously, if you're running against him, you think he needs to be fired.
Well, that's a mild way of putting it. I think firing John Bel Edwards is a way to remove him from office is simply to vote him out of office. He was very unusual to have a Democrat elected as a governor of Louisiana. Unfortunately, David Vitter got in some trouble and people couldn't vote for him the way they wanted to. And people in Louisiana have morals and they have values. So unless you represent those morals and values, they're not going to support you under any circumstances, which I admire them for that.
Right.
So we've had to suffer under a high tax, high spending, liberal governor who loves sanctuary cities, loves the open borders, and is a proponent of making government bigger and bigger. And he's also increased the size of government by 24% over the last 3.5 years, because he's only been governor for 3.5 years. So, you know, I don't know where he's going to be. If you let him be governor for 10 years, the size of government is going to be 3 times bigger than it is today.
Let's talk a little bit about some specifics. Obviously, he's increased taxes, so we now have the second highest sales taxes in the nation. We have obviously a Medicaid explosion, 500,000 more on Medicaid. He didn't run on either of those things. He ran on the fact that he was going to be pro-life and pro-gun and pro-military. But we got sort of a liberal Democrat in there, didn't we?
Well, the only thing he's done is raise taxes.
Yeah.
He got the legislature to go along with him because he scared everybody. He did a real good job of consorting with the media, which is what the Democrats do, is they get the media on their side.
Right.
And they scare everybody. We're going to throw your grandma off the bridge. We're going to kick your kids out of school. You're not going to have food. And so he managed to get the legislature to go along with him. And we are the highest taxed sales tax people in the United States. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're also the poorest state in the United States.
First or second, either way, I mean, we're extremely high and we're very poor. And I look at all these reports, Gary, that come out that say that we're losing population. We're one of only 8 states in the nation to lose population. One survey said per capita we're like #1 in the nation as far as losing people. So how can Gary Landrieu as governor bring back business, jobs, and people to Louisiana?
Well, what I see that we're really missing is the greatest opportunity in the history of Louisiana, which is to have widespread Las Vegas-style gaming. You know, you cross the border to Mississippi and you drive along the coast and you see everything's paved in gold. They got 16, 20 casinos over there, thousands and thousands of jobs, revenue to the state government coming. They got new parks being built everywhere. In Louisiana, we're struggling. We're getting by barely. You can't pay the bills and have no money. So I think if we implement Las Vegas-style gaming, and you make me governor, I will do it. I'll do it in the first 6 months that I'm governor.
Yeah.
And that will create 250,000 jobs for the New Orleans area, and I think we're going to have to do it for New Orleans and Baton Rouge. We can't leave them out. At the same time, it should generate $4 billion worth of revenue for the state, and if you add $4 billion more to the state revenue stream, it's going to solve all the financial problems for the state and for a lot of the cities.
Do you view yourself as sort of a Louisiana Donald Trump business guy trying to go in there and fix problems that politicians created?
Well, you know, they've had 80 years, 90 years to get us to where we are, so we can't fix it overnight. But I think that, as I mentioned to you, I sent you an invitation the other day. They had a big fundraiser for John Bell. And if you go down the list of the people in the fundraiser, it's this politician and this politician and this city councilman and this judge, and they're all over there and they're all in a big cabal together. And what they're really not doing is giving opportunity to people. They're giving opportunity to themselves to grow government, to have more government contracts and more government spending. Now the big thing is the crony capitalism. You want to get something done, you got to go get a tax credit somewhere, or get one of your friends to get you a place on Aretha Castle Haley where you can get a $28 million grant to build a grocery store. And so it's really not, we can't succeed like that. We can't have a form of government where it's taken from them, give it to them, and y'all vote for me.
Let's talk about why Gary Landrieu is running as an independent, because a lot of people are probably watching and say, wow, sounds like a conservative Republican. Why are you doing this as an independent?
We never got here. The Democrats didn't do this by themselves.
Yeah.
They had a little help from their friends, and it was the Republican Party that helped them. And it's not so much that they helped them, but they just stood by and let them get away with it. Now think about this for a minute. The president, when President Trump was elected, we controlled the House of Representatives and the Senate. Where's the wall? Why didn't they build the wall?
Right.
They did a tax cut. That's wonderful. We really appreciate that. But what did they do? They had the chance. They had their opportunity, and they did nothing.
Right.
You make me governor, and I promise you it'll be a different ball game. I've told you this in the last meeting. I don't need 8 years to do what I got to do.
Yeah. So you feel like you can get it done in one term, and as an independent, you think you'd have more flexibility to knock heads together?
Well, if you look at the voting rolls in Louisiana, you got 1.2 million Democrats registered. You got 950,000 Republicans registered, but you also have 780,000 people registered independent.
Yeah.
John Bell Edwards made the runoff with 440,000 votes. If I got half the independents to vote for me, I'm in. Now here's the problem with independents. They don't really consider independents to be a political party.
Right.
But the reason they're independent is because they want to think independently, and they want to have open minds, and they want to vote for who they want to. They don't want the party to tell them what to do. They want to find the person that they like, the person that's going to represent their values and their morals, and bring those values and morals to Baton Rouge. When I was a little kid, I served as a page for Senator Jumonville. And I got to see the Senate the way it worked 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
And, it's an environment up there. You go up there for these sessions, and it's crazy. It just doesn't seem like the will of the people is being implemented.
No, they could care less about the people. We're just the guys that pay the taxes. They just get squeezed more and more and ignore what we want done, and we want to close that border on Texas.
And then finally, if you're elected, how are you going to deal with these liberal cities that have different agendas, such as New Orleans, where everything is very PC, and you have a lot of serious problems like crime?
I predict that before the end of Ms. LaToya Cantrell's term, that the city's going to go bankrupt because they can't pay their bills, they don't have any money, they can't fix the infrastructure. So when I get the widespread gaming set up and we start rolling in thousands of jobs and millions of dollars, then everybody's going to change their attitude. And also, the governor of Louisiana is a very powerful man. And
yes. That's why a lot of people want to be governor.
No, that's not why I want to be governor. Right. I want to use the power for the people, not for myself. I'm not interested. This is not an ego trip for Gary. I want to be governor and get me a limo to ride around.
We got 30 seconds. Yeah. So is this a serious deal?
Very serious.
Some people were saying, are you trying to help other parties or candidates? Or?
No, as a matter of fact, I'm in this race to win. I'd like to win. I'm going to work hard to win. I'm going to give it my 100% effort. I don't have millions of dollars to spend, but we think that if we can ignite a fire in the campaign and the people recognize I use this as an analogy. When they saw K. Paul burning the food in the kitchen and they said, hey, Paul, what are you doing? You're burning the food. Well, guess what? He burned the food, but he also changed the food culinary aspect of the entire world just with his attitude and his determination. This will be my 6th campaign.
Yeah.
I'm determined that I'm going to win this time.
All right. Gary Landrieu, now where can people get information about your campaign?
GoGaryGovernor.com.
All right, GoGaryGovernor.com. You see it on the screen. All right, we'll continue the conversation in the days, weeks ahead. Thank you, Gary Landrieu. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
Hey, I'm glad we got a race.